Boston Celtics are going to be busy this upcoming draft if they don't trade their picks by how they have a crazy 4 picks this year with the 14th, 26th, 30th, and 47th pick. But most fans will stop paying attention past the 26th pick. But this shouldn't be the case. As we've seen in many years before, many teams such as the Lakers have gotten home runs with these late first and early mid to second round picks. So with the Celtics holding basically 3 of these picks, let's take a look at the 3 prospects that the Celtics should pay attention to. The first player that the Celtics should try to target with their 26th pick is Daniel Oturu. I'd really want to see the Celtics pick Jalen Smith with their 14th pick, but I just have this feeling that they won't pick him. As a result, Daniel is a pick that they have to make here. Daniel played 2 seasons for the Maryland Terrapins, and in his sophomore season he averaged roughly around 20 points and 11 rebounds per game. The main reason why the Celtics need to make this selection is that Daniel is a defensive big that has shown major improvements and hints on the offensive end. Defensively, Daniel may be one of the most underrated big men in the draft. All the talk has been about how good Wiseman and Smith are, but Oturu is the same person who averaged 2.5 blocks per game on the defensive end. He's extremely disciplined, he doesn't jump on pump fakes, and he doesn't commit any type of silly fouls. Despite Daniel seeing a 10-minute per game increase in his sophomore season, he committed the same amount of fouls as his freshman year. But again, it's his offense that should be more intriguing. Oturu already showed his elite defensive ability in his first year, with more touches and being more of a focal point on the offensive end this past season. Oturu flashed an inside-outside game. Daniel would bully defenders down low, but at the same time, he'd keep defenders honest in a pick-and-pop setting where he'd shoot a 3. Daniel is still developing his shot, but considering how this past season was his first attempt at consistently shooting from deep, the fact that he shot 36.5% on around 2 attempts per game should only hint at Oturu being able to continue to improve his shooting. We all know by now about the Celtics center issue. They need to address it, and the draft might be the best way to do it. Free agents such as Serge Ibaka or even Aaron Baines would be great for the Celtics, but the reality of the matter is that it's highly unlikely that they'd be willing to take a veteran's minimum. Daniel Oturu would be on a cheap rookie contract for multiple years. With the 30th pick, the Boston Celtics need to draft Malachai Flynn. A lot of fans are interested in Cassius Winston as being that guard to be selected in the late first round, and while he's a great prospect, Flynn makes much more sense for the Celtics. Malachi is a point guard / combo guard who played for the San Diego State Aztecs this past season and averaged 17.6 points, 4.5 rebounds, and 5.1 assists per game. Malachi with the Aztecs proved to be able to run the point, but also showed to be a lockdown defender that took on the challenge of guarding the opposing team's best defender. The Celtics were one of the best defensive teams this past season, and Malachi would only help to continue this. In his final 2 collegiate seasons, he averaged more than 1.5 steals per game, and the reason why he was able to do this is because of how good of an on-ball and off-ball defender he is. So many clips, Malachi was able to read what the opposing team wanted to do, and he made the defensive play before the offense could make theirs, due to his high defensive IQ. Honestly, I can see Malachi's defense being very similar to Lonzo Ball. But the part that gets me excited is that we might get the chance to see a Marcus Smart, Malachai Flynn defensive pairing. That's just clamps written all over it. As for the offensive end, Malachi under the pick and roll offense is one of the most underrated guards in this draft. In the pick and roll setting or in transition, roughly 74% of his assists came through this fashion, and a high majority of his assists came in the paint. And the reason why this was the case is just how good Malachi is at manipulating the defense. As you can see in the clips, there was multiple times where Malachi would get the defense going one way and then getting the pass to a player he was planning to go to the whole time. The reason why this is so important is that the Celtics really lack a guard that can help maintain the ship when Kemba comes off the court. I've said this multiple times in my videos by now, but I can't ignore how Kemba's on-off on this team was the second highest. This just can't be the case with the point guard position. Drafting Malachai Flynn will go a long way in solving these problems. With the 47th pick, the Celtics need to draft Sam Merrill. Sam is a two-guard who played 4 seasons for the Utah State Aggies, and this past season he averaged 19.7 points, 4.1 rebounds, and 3.9 assists per game. Pretty much, Sam is one of those potential 3-and-D players that every team is coveting for. Back when Sam's task was really just providing shooting for the Aggies, Sam converted at an extremely high rate. In his sophomore and freshman season, Sam shot around 45% from 3 on around 5 attempts per game. As Sam's game continued to expand, he still shot the 3 at a high level, which is suggesting the ability to continue to shoot the ball at a high rate for the Celtics, but also provide some pick and roll action and even maybe handling of the ball. In terms of his defensive ability, Sam isn't at that level right now to be considered as a legit 3-and-D prospect, but considering how he has made massive improvement to his defense over his collegiate career, he has the height and the wingspan needed. Sam should only be able to continue to improve his defensive ability. The Celtics were one of the best shooting teams in the playoffs, but during the course of the regular season, the Celtics were actually mid-table in that regard, which is suggesting to me that the Celtics caught fire at the right time fortunately. Instead of banking on some good time shooting luck, the Celtics should look for some shooters after their other problems have been addressed. And this is what they should do with their 47th pick. Let me know what you guys think. Until next time, peace.